We had a $32 trillion national debt, 32 trillion, 32 and then 12 zeros before the decimal point. $32 trillion national debt. So we pay over $1 billion a day in interest on that. And then they keep raising the interest rates, which means you're going to pay more money in interest. And the money that's collected by the government through taxation, at some point, as people have less faith in our currency, that's why they're shifting to this different alliance, the BRICs alliance, because we have too much inflation. Watanab says, Derek, good evening. Thank you for bringing in rockstar guests for the amazing insights. I also appreciate the excellent content of the week. I know it's not the market's course, but since I've seen Brazil's indexes increase about 20% in the last 30 days, I decided to ask it here. What are the ways that the rise of the BRICs can affect the U.S. economy and the exchange rate? Super curious on your thought process. Look, this BRICS thing is going to be awful for the United States. We're losing control of being the primary denominated currency of the world, and we're primarily losing control because we have fake leaders and just preposterous policies. And but that said, I've never been into politics so much at all. I'm still not. I've never thought of myself as a Republican or a Democrat. I think they're both ridiculous for different reasons. And, people are born into one cult or the other. And the way that they're a Christian or a Muslim, some people think that they're a Democrat or a Republican. And I mean, just have a little independent thought, folks. Just have a little independent thought and look at the results of we had a $32 trillion national debt, 32 trillion. A normal idiot on the street doesn't even know how many zeros are in a trillion. It's 12, 32 and then 12 zeros before the decimal point. $32 trillion national debt. So we pay over $1 billion a day in interest on that. And then they keep raising the interest rates, which means you're going to pay more money in interest. And the money that's collected by the government through taxation, more and more of it's going to go towards the national debt. And at a time that they have ever increasing welfare programs. And so they'll accelerate the national debt. And at some point, as people have less faith in our currency, that's why they're shifting to this different alliance, the BRICs alliance, because we have too much inflation, because they printed about $7 trillion mostly in 2020 and going into 2021, between the expansion of the Federal Reserve balance sheet and also the Congress authorizing the printing of money. It's about $7 trillion added from the government in a short period of time. Now, I was a beneficiary of that because I'm smart, and that's what you're supposed to do. If they're going to do stupid things, you should take advantage of those opportunities. But it's scary that they keep printing money and pretend inflation's not a real thing, and now they're dealing with the inflation, and you see a little pressure in the stock market today because of that. They're talking about they paused rate hikes for just this last month, but they're talking about at least a couple more rate hikes before the end of the year. So they're trying to restore, some semblance of integrity to the U.S. dollar by raising the interest rates and, toning down the inflation a little bit. But that's good. But guess what? Next year is an election year. And the politicians are going to do what politicians do, and they're going to, whoever would be the incumbent president, Democrat or Republican, but in this case, Democrat. I'm sorry if I mispronounced, say Democrat. I mean to say Democrat. They're going to want to lower those interest rates again, and they're going to have more inflation because of it. So that's going to be good for the stock market. And if they do what I think they're going to do when they lower the rates, I'll be a great beneficiary of that again. But there'll be more inflation, and there's a lot of pressure on normal people. And yes, it's not good for the economy. It's very bad. It's very bad for the U.S. economy, the way things have been mismanaged. And other countries, instead of using the dollar as a reserve currency, they're losing faith in the dollar, and they're building their own alliance. And, it's very bad for the United States. is very stupid for the United States. We have a dominant position basically since World War II. We've had been the global superpower since World War II, and politician after politician is Democrats and also the Republicans have gone out of their way to abuse that position and undermine it, and it's extraordinarily stupid. It's extraordinarily stupid. So, yeah, there's not much else to say about it. It's very, very bad. It's extremely bad for the U.S. For the future of the common citizen of the United States. It's very, very bad. It's very, very bad. Good question overall. Mr. Tran says, very nuanced, got much to learn still. Matthew Lawrence, what up, Matthew? Matthew says, thank you, Derek and Chuck. I always like hearing about effort over time, requirement for success. I thoroughly enjoy talking to people at work or in town about the work required to have good results. I usually hear from I couldn't do that, to which I answer, you could. You choose not to do that, and you'll have worse outcomes because of it. So thank you for keeping such high standards. It's my honor to spend time with you, and I look forward to seeing you in a week. Matthew went to the UFC fights with me on Saturday. We had a great time. I had a great time. I hope he had a great time. We got to hang out and take some photos in the ring afterwards. Send me one of those photos if you would, please, by the way. Just send to my email. It'd be great. I thought it was fun, and I enjoyed our time together, and we had some nerdy conversations a bit. We had some leisure time and watched the fights. You see, even when I'm there having leisure time, I know a lot of people there, or a lot of people there know me. So there's still some social obligations or, opportunities that present themselves that I should talk to people and, just be aware of the environment and, socialize a bit in the environment. But, I have a lot of fun there. It's a great place, great time. Chuck's a gangster. Chuck is for any of you that don't know who Chuck Liddell is, look it up. But Chuck is one of the most respected, fighters ever. And he's, I don't know how old he is, 56 or so, 55. I don't know how old he is. He's 10 or so years older than me, maybe a little more. But we were on the wrestling mats yesterday, and the guy is super strong. He fought at 205 most of his career, so he's 240 right now. He's strong. He's talented. Been helping train some of the other guys at UFC that, just not because he needs money. He's one of the wealthiest guys from UFC ever, and one of the most respected. So if you don't know who he is, look him up. But Chuck Liddell's an absolute legend and one of the most respected and most talented people ever from that sport. Robert says, thank you, Chuck. Big fan of yours. Thank you for sharing what it takes to be great, and expect hard in order to be great, and expect hard in order to get where you want to be. Also, thank you, Derek. Appreciate and enjoy how you and Chuck explain what it takes to be great. I hope you folks take the note. Some of the things that I say with these people is a bit repetitive. And if you're bored with that, you're probably going to spend the majority of your life very poor, and you're probably going to stay dumb, and you're probably going to have some really shit results. Derek, I'm not dumb. I'm not dumb, Derek. I make $80,000 a year. Derek, I'm not dumb. I make $200,000 a year. Yeah, okay, but there's a lot of times I make $200,000 a day. All right, and there's plenty of times Chuck would have made that kind of money in a day in his life. So, as smart as you might be, keep going. Keep going. Banish a little of your ignorance every day. Learn a little bit more. Work a little bit harder. You can do more than you think you can do. He and I were just in the gym. Maybe you'll look at Instagram later today. He and I were just lifting weights before we came over here, and I was putting up 1,000 pounds, not just on the leg sled, but on calves, which is a ridiculous amount of weight. It's a lot of weight. I put up 1,000 pounds 14 times. That doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. Oh, Derek, your legs are just strong. Yeah, dickhead. Yeah, you just lift 1,000 pounds because they just happen to be strong. Like, no, it takes years. It took, my legs are naturally strong, and a decade of training. And then you can lift 1,000 pounds with your calves. Maybe. Most people can't. Most people will never do what I did today. And I don't say that to be cocky. It's just true. Most people can never do that. Your body wouldn't let you. So, the you got to be persistent, man. Like, gifted is not enough. Talented is not enough. Smart, whatever you want to think of yourself as, is not enough. It's like, there's plenty of smart people that are poor. There's plenty of people that have PhDs. They're doctors of this or that. Go look what a PhD makes. 100,000, 80,000, depends on what it is. Random PhD makes about 80,000 a year. PhD in something that matters that you get paid for is 150,000 or so. So there's plenty of smart people that don't make a lot of money. There's plenty of people that are work hard that don't make a lot of money. So you need all those things. You need the momentum to compound the wins, compound it, compound. It's going to be boring. Chuck said this earlier too. It's going to be boring for some of you. It'd be boring. Well, what's not boring is when you could go to luxury stores and buy whatever you want. It's not boring if you got a neighbor that complains and you're annoyed with them and you just buy their property and tell them to move. That's not boring. That's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to tell your neighbor, if you don't like it here, why don't you sell me the property and get the fuck out? That's not very boring. That's pretty cool. I like that. It's not boring is to be able to buy your woman whatever the hell you want to, or whatever crazy shit she might want. That's not boring. That's pretty fun. Even if it's ridiculous shit sometimes, because she made the resources. If you got the resources, it don't matter. It don't matter. So those things aren't boring, but the process, the process can be it's a grind, man. It's a grind to be good at anything. If you want to be a world champion fighter like Chuck was 5 times, that shit wasn't easy. It's a lot of work, man. A lot of boring repetition. If you want to do things like I did, it's going to be a lot of boring repetition. If you're not willing to sit on your ass and study and say no to almost everything else, then you can't have that. Success is not for everybody. Success is not for everybody. But if you want it, man, you go get it. You got a good recipe. You go through this course, you're almost done. Go through the Markets Mastery course next, Real Estate Riches course after that. For the people that are on all 3, you get to take all 3 a second time for now. We're not going to do that forever, but for now, you get to take all 3 a second time as my guest for no charge. I hate the word free, but for no charge, you could take all 3 of them a second time. You're going to learn a lot. You're indeed going to banish a lot of your ignorance, have very good foundational understanding and some deep nuance understandings of a few things. That you're going to be well positioned compared to people who didn't do that. I think you'd be very well positioned to have superior outcomes. And if you compound that over time, you change your whole life. Change your whole life. Then for those of you that are smart enough and invited to be in the mastermind group on top of that and be around the other winners in the ecosystem and meet these people in person and so on. Somebody brought up the other day, so Derek, you haven't done a mastermind call for a while. What I have done is I did a lot of live events. I did a live event in January. So far this year, we did a live event in January for New Year's. We did another one in March. We did another one in April. We did another one in May. We're doing another one next week. So I've been spending, every month I'm with the mastermind people, or, people like Matthew that we're hanging out at the fights, or we're just spending time on one-on-one calls or one-on-one in person. So I'm spending time with the most important people in the group. And, if you happen to be in the mastermind group and you're not one of them, that's a decision that you made. It's a decision that you made to not come to those live events, to not be in scheduling one-on-one time. So, I'll do mastermind calls again in the future sometime, but those were never something that was promised. Those were always a bonus. I'll do some in the future, but for me to take, hours away to do that, it's like, I don't know, should I go train with Chuck and go do what we do? Go lift weights? Should I skip a workout because of it? Nah. Should I skip my MMA training because of it? Nah, not going to do that. Not going to do that either. Should I say no to some other business opportunities so I could hang out with somebody on a Zoom call that didn't care to show up in person when everybody else is showing up in person? No, probably don't make sense, does it? So if it was important to you, you'd show up in person. And, if it's not important enough for you to show up in person, then good luck, I guess. Some people are confused. They say, Derek, what is the 10 Commandments of wealth? Not the 10 maybes of wealth. It's the 10 core things that you're going to need to know about in detail if you'd like to accumulate significant wealth in your lifetime. Click this link up here to find more information, exactly what is the 10 Commandments of wealth, how is the program structured, what's inside of it, how are you going to benefit from it. If you're doing well already and you'd like to do better, click that link and find out more. There's over 100 hours of content in this program. I've interviewed dozens of world champions that shared what it took for them to win, to be the top Hall of Fame athletes in their respective areas. And I brought a lot of other superstars in there from business, people that are real world entrepreneurs that made serious money, as I have myself. We all share with you what are the foundations you're going to need to know if you want to be successful yourself. Be a chooser, not a loser. Leave a comment if you want a business or success question answered, and subscribe for even more winning.